Now, if we need a revolution, every revolution is starting somewhere. It's usually starting with a group of brave people, of leaders, of committed leaders. And when we were discussing the possibility of launching the revolution, together with our colleagues from the Department of Health, it didn't take a long time to arrive at the suggestion to do the revolution launch just here. So to start the revolution here in Baguio, because two things are coming here together. We've got a vibrant private sector in the economic zone that has proven over the last year its dynamism and its energy and its strive for innovation. And we have a very committed government to create smoke-free environments, city government. And these two factors together make this the ideal spot for us really to launch the revolution smoke-free in workplaces here in the Philippines today in Baguio. Now, what we do is we count of all of you here, the representatives, particularly of the private sector, to start the revolution today here, the revolution smoke-free. And to help free the society from the very depressing consequences of smoking. And we've just heard already the regional director talking so eloquently about some of them. Firstly, of course, there are the depressing consequences of smoking for our health. Globally, there are a staggering 7 million people dying of smoke and of smoking every single year. So 6 million of those are people who are currently smoking or who've smoked in the past, but close to 1 million of those are people who've never smoked, but they die of having been exposed to smoking by others. So in the Philippines, tobacco kills 4 people every single hour. These are the health consequences, but there are many other consequences. Now we are here in the economic zone, so we need to talk about economy as well. The financial consequences of smoking are also staggering. We estimate that smoking may cost the Philippines as much as 3% of GDP, of the gross domestic product every year. So fighting against smoking is also a huge economic stimulus package for the country. But that's the economy in general. We also know that smoking is particularly affecting the financing and the finances of poor people. We've had a lot of discussion around this in the context of taxation for tobacco. We know that the poorest segments of the population are most affected by the economic consequences. They spend most of their household income for smoking and diverting this income from other very needed expenses. And they need to spend most of this household income, the biggest share, for the health consequences, for dealing with the health consequences of smoking. So when we talk, for instance, about increasing taxes for tobacco, there are some people who argue, well, tax increases are against the poor people. No, that's not the case. In the case of smoking, it's the other way around. Increasing tobacco taxes is a pro-poor measure because the poorer segments of the population will respond best to these increases in tobacco taxation, and they will quit smoking fastest and actually have savings at the end. Now, that's the economic consequences, but there's also a third set of consequences that we need to be aware of, especially here in this beautiful environment. It's the environmental consequences. And Antoinette Tan, as a fierce environmental advocate, has already alluded to this and is obviously most aware of those. Every day, there are staggering 10 billion cigarette butts that are disposed somewhere in the environment, and each of these cigarette butts will contribute to polluting our soils and our waters, and obviously those who smoke will contribute to polluting our air. So lots of reasons to start a revolution today here in Baguio, a revolution smoke-free. Now, if we talk about smoke-free, there are always two angles to approach this. Of course, best thing is not to even start smoking. So the creation of smoke-free environments in the workplace will obviously help many people to adhere to a smoke-free life and not even pick up the habit. But we've